this assignment, we were given the task of choosing an organism as if we had just discovered it as an old school naturalist. In the mindset of Charles Darwin, just arriving in Vancouver for the first time, the southern magnolia, otherwise known as Magnolia grandiflora, would be the first to catch my eye. Luckily for me, I have one in my backyard. Let's go!
The southern magnolia can be classified into 7 different taxonomic groups. Kingdom Plantae, which consists of plants, phylum Magnoliophyta, consisting of flowering plants, class Magnoliopsida, which are dicotyledons, order Magnolialis, family Magnoliaceae, genus Magnolia, and species Magnolia grandiflora, otherwise known as the southern magnolia. The Magnolia grandiflora can be described by many different factors: shape, color and texture, fragrance, and behavior.
At the first glance, the Magnolia grandiflora may appear as if it has brown and green leaves, although this is false. The top coat of the leaf is actually green, covered with a waxy cuticle, while the bottom has a velvety texture to it with a brown rust color. If we get a closer look at the flower over here, we notice the carpels along with the stamen at the top of the flower. These are the reproductive structures of the flower that also allow pollination to happen. The leaves of a southern magnolia are elliptical with a round pointed body and a main vein going through the middle. You may be thinking, these trees don't resemble most Magnolia grandiflora that you see on the internet. This is because Magnolia grandiflora is one of 12 species. A variety is this, so there are many varieties within a species. If you look at this diagram, this is how I was able to identify what kind of tree this is. By looking at the flowers, I could identify that it was indeed a southern magnolia.
To measure the height of the leaves on the Magnolia grandiflora, I collected 4 leaves from the tree and calculated their average.
Magnolia trees being studied in this assignment are specifically located in my backyard. They are surrounded by many trees and shrubs, as well as hydrangeas.
The soil they grow from is neither extremely dry nor extremely moist. Magnolia grandiflora adaptations and characteristics. Mature southern magnolias are largely unaffected by fire. This is because their bark is not very flammable, it is very thin with a cork layer beneath the bark that allows it to be relatively resistant to heat. I believe this adaptation came about because these magnolias originating from the southern United States had to adapt to their hot and fire-prone environments. Another adaptation is the ability to cross-pollinate. The flowers of the Magnolia grandiflora are protigonous, meaning they have the female reproductive organs come to maturity prior to the male ones. Its flowers first open with the female parts of the flower receptive, then they close. Later, they reopen, exposing the male parts, stamens ready to shed pollen. This type of pollination between two plants is an adaptation of self-pollination that aids in the widening of the gene pool. Next is the characteristic of providing shade. The Magnolia grandiflora provide an abundance of shade for its surroundings, which helps keep the soil moist and hydrated for the tree to thrive. The Magnolia grandiflora interacts with its ecosystem in 3 ways: competition, commensalism, and mutualism.
As you can see, this niche is very small and jam-packed.
The southern magnolia competes with nearby plants like hydrangeas. Due to this tree's wide roots that, on the contrary to other trees, grow close to the surface, the roots of each plant must compete for soil. Also, songbirds benefit from the southern magnolia's resources like seeds and shelter, representing a commensalistic relationship. Finally, we have the magnolia's primary pollinator, the beetles. In this mutualistic relationship, both benefit by beetles getting food and magnolias being pollinated.